you'll need to work on the issues that preceded the adultery choice. Remember, I just said sometimes there are issues in the marriage that were already there before the adultery choice. You still got to deal with those things, right? Still have to deal with poor communication, where you aren't connecting, unresolved hurts and pains from things that have happened maybe over the years, whatever they are. All right. You've got to face those things. Why? The adultery choice is one thing, but even when you deal with that, you still had issues back here that were lingering. So we still need to face those things and resolve those things so that when you move forward, whatever issues were in the relationship prior to the adultery choice, whatever the issues were prior to the adultery choice, they need to be worked through and resolved. Why? Because you want a complete healing. You want a whole healing. You want to rebuild an us that is strong and vibrant and connected, loving and mature. Whatever issues were there before are going to have to be dealt with. Example of a case I was working with today. And they've had problems in the relationship really going back to dating. He even said, I knew she was this way. I should have left when we were dating. I should have left when I was engaged, but I didn't. And that's okay. Those are his choices. He recognizes, even if we solve this issue that I created the adultery, we've had problems for a long time. And they have. Pornography issues. There's communication issues. There are issues with their family of origin that have been a very negative influence on that relationship. And so even though they work through this, they still have to solve all those problems that were already in the relationship before he ever made the decision to commit adultery. So those are pieces they're going to have to work through, that you'll have to work through to resolve. Why? Because if you want a healthy, strong us in the future, you don't want lingering, unresolved issues moving forward as well. You've got to deal with the crisis of the adultery for sure, but then you have to turn your attention to what was going on in the relationship all along anyways. You see? Now, my caveat, typically, if it's a sexual addiction, it usually is going to be the addict. It's the addiction. Don't blame the adultery choice based from a sexual addiction on the spouse. It is the addictive personality. And the thing that is true about the addictive personality is the addict personality is going to do what it wants, when it wants, whenever it wants. And no one's going to tell us no, because the addict personality doesn't respect humanity. It doesn't respect others. The addict personality doesn't bond to people. The addict personality bonds to the addiction. The addiction is how the sex addict or the alcoholic or the drug addict or the gambling addict, the acting out is the way that the addictive personality gets its love needs met. So in that sense, you have to deal with the addiction. It means you got to have a recovery program in place, right? Why? Because the best place to treat any addiction is in a group setting, a 12-step program. So you're going to have to deal with that if the adultery is based off of an addictive process, all right? So you're going to have to work on the issues in the relationship that preceded the adultery, all right? Hear me out on this one. I tell people, for the next point, by the way, I tell people, rather than go and try and fix this relationship, what if we decide that this is chapter 1 of your marriage, and chapter 1 is ending with intensive therapy to heal brokenness and hurt and pain? Then what you do is you choose to write chapter 2. Chapter 2 has not been written yet. So which means now you two can go write whatever you want from this day forward. You can write something new. I like that way of thinking. Trying to fix something and repair it is kind of moves things forward. I think at some point there's a lot of wisdom saying, all right, we're going to create a new relation from this day forward. We're going to start writing chapter 2, and in chapter 2 we're going to do things really different. This is why I believe strongly, that's why I believe our work in Relate Well is essential to this process, because what we do in Relate Well is we give you the fundamental skills and tools and principles to how to create a healthy, bonded, connected relationship, how to communicate well, how to emotionally regulate well, so that you can handle conflict and protect us. The idea of us in our work is that it's the most important part of a marriage. Us wins, you both win. Us lose, you both lose. And when us is in the house, you know it because you feel it. You know when it's not in the house because you'll feel that too. When us is in the house, you feel the love and the connection and the warmth. When us is not in the house, you feel the anger and the tension and the coldness and the distance. And every decision you make gives you or gives us. Why not choose to create a new relationship where you both are deciding we're going to start giving to us because we would rather be an us than rather be two individuals, you see. And so choose to create a new relationship. Now, that relationship's not created yet. So you can go write whatever you want in chapter two because chapter two hasn't been written yet. It's waiting for you to write it. Or you could just keep chapter one going, which I recommend against myself. And so create a new relationship. What do you want? What are you looking for? Now, in our work, if you came to see us, we would say you're going to create a new sense of us that has deeper meaning, have deeper understanding, that is basically going to be from this day forward, we are going to live for us in all aspects of life. Why? Who gets married to be miserable? When us is in the house, you're both happy. You're both connected. It's peaceful when us is in the house. When us is not in the house, you feel the angst, the tension. I don't want to live that way. I actually grew up that way. I grew up where there wasn't an us in the house. I ain't living that way.